ultimately decided education. At that point, I decided to transfer to Northeastern State University. A couple things at Ottawa, there was a representative from University of Kansas Medical School. He's actually a medical student that came down to talk to students who are interested in science and things like that, medicine. And this was probably the first time I actually initially thought about going into medicine. But he was telling me something about the MCAT, something about all these like 10 letters of recommendations and personal statements and things like that. And I was like, man, that's way too much, you know. That's a lot of hard work. And then, you know, I'm not a very good test taker at all. So, you know, I thought about it a little bit at that time, but, you know, I was thinking more like, well, maybe I can do some type of athletic trainer, you know, or maybe physical therapy or something of that nature. I decided to, when I transferred to Northeastern State University, I decided to go down and talk to the dean. Okay, there is a dean at Health and Human Performance, and from that degree, you can go on to athletic training, or you can go to physical therapy, or kind of do whatever you wanted with that. I talked to the dean and signed up for some classes. Now, he told me that there was a specific class, Human Anatomy and Physiology, that was closed. I couldn't take it for that semester. And so I asked him, you know, what other class can I take? And he said, well, you can take the medical-based Human Anatomy class at Northeastern State University. And I looked at him like, I mean, that sounds like it's hard, you know, like, is that harder, or, you know, so he was like, no, it's a piece of cake, you know, no problem, you know, no biggie. And he did mention that, you know, we will be dissecting on cadavers. And I'm like, what is a cadaver? You know, tell me it's a, you know, a dead body that is embalmed with formaldehyde. And so I was like, okay, all right, you know, whatever. So, you know, I took the class, and the very first day, I believe there's probably about, I don't know, 40 students maybe. And of course, I was the only African-American male in that class. And, you know, probably the first lecture, I knew that this was not going to be an easy class at all. And I remember when I took the first exam, I made a D. I think I made like a 64% or something like that. And, you know, my goal for when I transferred to NSU was to improve my GPA from a 2.8 to at least a 3.4 so I can graduate cum laude. But, you know, the first test making a 64 was not going to be, I mean, that goal was not going to be attainable, so I had to, you know, I had to do something. You know, I had to kind of, you know, I decided to talk to the teacher, talk to the professor, get some type of tips, some type of study habits, kind of bite the bullet, you know, on being too confident in my own abilities, and get some help, get some aid from another professor, okay? That was really the first time I actually went to professor. We had a sit-down talk about how I could succeed in this class. So he helped me with some study tips, and I essentially did significantly better on the rest of the exams for that semester. And I came out with an A in that class. So I started out making a D. I think we had like about 4 or 5 more tests, and they dropped the lowest score. Okay, so ended up doing well in that class. So, you know, I thought to myself, you know, so I did well in human anatomy, and still thinking about the medical representative from University of Kansas that came to me the year prior. You know, maybe I ought to change my degree to medicine, you know, pre-med. Maybe I should change it to biology, organismic emphasis with the pre-med major, okay? So I thought, why not? You know, I remember going, there was a physician that talked to me somewhere around that time that challenged me. I was actually with my mother again. She had a doctor's appointment, and she likes to brag about me. So at that time, I was really seriously thinking about physical therapy or athletic training. And she's my baby, you know, I use physical therapy and things like that, you know. And the doctor was like, yeah, you know, that's nice, you know. You make decent money, you get out, you get that car, you know, but you're probably going to have that car for like another 10 years. And he challenged me. He was like, well, you know, why don't you challenge yourself to be something more? Be the person in charge of the physical therapists and the trainers, physician assistants, and things like that. You know, why just stop at that level? You know, why don't you try to become the best you can be the best physician you can be. And so, you know, I kind of took that to heart. And with all that, you know, I just went on ahead and just went all board, okay?